All right, so let's get into it today. We're going to dive into Robinhood and its impact on not only the DeFi market, the crypto market in general, and then also how it might be playing into a Web3 and NFT strategy that could play out very interestingly. So this is going to affect what's happening in the crypto and altcoin markets, especially around Polygon and some other strategic tokens that play and technology that play into this. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. We're going to dive in deep on that. I want to run down this first website, which is the Robinhood Investor Index. And when you look at Robinhood in general, and just to frame it, because I know a lot of you probably already jumping in saying, Paul, Robinhood's a crappy exchange, don't do it, all that. We get it. The point is that Robinhood's potential here is not for you and me. It is for the potential of the new people coming into the space. And it's the thing we talked about here many, many times, and that is adoption. Adoption is going to lean in to a couple of areas. One is the millennial and Gen Z crowd, and then Gen X and boomers that are probably going to come through the normal methods like, things like Fidelity or trading or TD Ameritrade, etc. That's going to be the commonplace. But I'm going to show you some data here that shows why Robinhood might actually be the gangster here on all this. So if you look at their index, you can kind of see a little bit of a flow, but what I want to showcase here is a very interesting aspect around the investor activity and how people on the Robinhood app perform and invest. And you can kind of see the Robinhood, of course, is in green, outperforming actually staying with most of the market since January of 2020. But right about here in the middle of 2020, Robinhood started investors, users, started outperforming the traditional exchanges and the traditional platforms for stock trading. So I think the brokerage houses have a lot more to worry about here with the activity of what Robinhood looks like. If you just look at some of the investments, some of this is what it is. I would agree with a lot of these, but some I would not, but very interesting. You get the AMC, the GME in there. We also get NEO, even Disney and Apple, Tesla. A lot of these are very, very technology forward. And I think this is something that just kind of flows well into what's happening. If you look at the top sectors, consumer durables, electronic and tech services, consumer services, then you get into retail, finance, etc. I think there's a big opportunity here for just that very point, and that is a new generation of investors and what this looks like going forward into the next era of adoption around crypto. Now, the key here will be a couple of things. One will be looking at the overall opportunity of Robinhood. Look at their revenue. This is from 2020 to 2. And you can kind of see the run up right there. Of course, we saw the Q2. This is all based on the run up on crypto. Remember, Dogecoin was an absolute killer in terms of profit for Robinhood. The slide off with the market pretty much stabilized, and all the way into Q1 2022 was the last one. And then, of course, we'll see some downside to that. Further into the charts here, I want to show a couple of things. If you look at, not assets under management, here we go. So this is the Robinhood annual users. This is 2015 to 22. And you'll notice that the growth here, look at the growth here, 1, 2, 6, 10, 13, and then in 2021, that was the big year, 22.5 in terms of annual user growth. So again, 15.9 million right now, currently in 2022, end of 22. Likelihood is this is probably going to maintain and or slightly grow in 23 going forward. Additionally, if you look at their competition, here's Robinhood setting at about 4. This is the brokerage size. So not necessarily heavy, but look at the size comparison. This is the average account size. That's Charles Schwab, E-Trade, etc. Those are the big ones. Robinhood, not that big, but when you capture the overall users, now it starts making sense of why the total valuation and market manipulation, if you want to call it that, market movement that's happening on Wall Street, Robinhood has been able to be in a very, very interesting spot. Now, what does this all mean for crypto? Why does Robinhood even matter to crypto? Part of this gets into the future of where Robinhood's overall strategy is going. One of those, I think, will flow into social media. And social media is going to be Very significant here. I don't know if there has been a strategic partnership between Twitter and Robinhood, but Twitter's new crypto and stocks feature now is linking to Robinhood. So when you're actually in a tweet and we're looking at a potential of a stock, you'll notice right here, view on Robinhood. This is the kind of thing that will potentially continue to grow it. Now, many people will say, well, Twitter's audience doesn't necessarily skew well with Robinhood. That's the point, is that if they can start to grab in more audience, that kind of opportunity in terms of adoption and ease of use, UX, is going to be, in my opinion, one of the key cornerstones of adoption in the next level. Remember, 2018, 2017, very clunky, very inside baseball for being in crypto. Finally, we get a little bit of a breakout in 2021. 2022, obviously a down year, but 2021, good year, saw its all-time high in most of the crypto markets. Metaverse was born, NFTs were launched, and we saw this evolution, but it was still very clunky, lack of onboarding, not a lot of sexiness around the UI. That's why I think Robinhood is in a very interesting position. Now, the other thing that's happening is they're cleaning house. And what I mean by that, crypto house, is Robinhood is now dropped BitcoinSV, BSV. This is a problem for BSV. Could this be one of the killer strokes that starts to occur? I think this is just more of a scenario that's happening with these in exchanges that are simply saying, listen, we need to get down to the core products and assets. It's going to be harder, I think, in the future to get a token listed because they're going to look at profitability and the visibility, because you don't want it taking up screen time. You want the ability to really leverage in on the things that are tied into trends and movement, which I think is going to be very critical for marketing projects in the future, especially around the rollouts of Robinhood, because this is going to roll into a lot of potential around who's going where on a token. Further into this is kind of just showing, that they're actually going to, let me kind of zoom in on that. If you don't sell this, they're actually going to liquidate you by a certain time. So this is a really serious scenario for BitcoinSV. Others that are going into this is Huobi, dropping another 33 tokens in one day. Again, trading risk, low volume. Low volume is really what I think it boils down to. And this is the whole point. Then you look at what's happening on the DOJ. Could we see Robinhood shares start to slide a little bit? I don't know. This is a little bit of a risk. If you're investing in Hood and looking at that as a strategy, just be aware there's a lot of stock that is at risk right now with FTX and now the U.S. Department of Justice in possession of those shares. So that's going to be interesting. Deutsche Bank did adjust Robinhood down from $10 down to $9. So it's a hold rating currently. The key here, I think, will be, because even if they do roll out the DeFi wallet, which is what has been talked about and really promised over the first quarter, I don't know if that's enough to move the market for Robinhood, just because of the fact that crypto has been so depressed and will continue to see potentially capitulation as we start to see this down. So I don't know if it helps them other than strategically rolling into the next level. Now, if you look at ARK and what Cathie Wood is doing, she's snapping up Coinbase shares. Now, I look at this and I think, all right, Coinbase, for those of you who know, I did some investment in trading on Coin, sold it on its recent high after the announcement of them laying off a lot of people. Stock goes up, sell that stuff and move on. But the point being is that, is she betting on Coinbase versus Robinhood? Now, Coinbase may be the solution, but there is one aspect to me that Robinhood has over Coinbase. And I don't want to put this in a sense of Coinbase is a real exchange, okay? It's a real crypto exchange. There's an opportunity there. It also has, really no true tie-in to derivatives and obviously in stocks where Robinhood does. But I think the key here is going to be around the potential of how integration is done with NFTs in the future. NFTs will fall into the Robinhood sweet spot, and Coinbase has attempted this. It hasn't been a big swing at the plate, and I think still Magic Eden, OpenSea, etc. have continued to win that race. I think this may be a play for Robinhood. They raised this was just a little small raise on Revel, 7.8 to become kind of an Instagram and Robinhood of NFT platforms. I think a lot of people are vying for this approach. The reason is because of the ability of what Robinhood has been able to do to create this almost addictive nature of trading and make it more gamified. That, I think, is their magic sauce that really positions them, I think, in a very, very interesting way. This is a good example. I mean, we saw the Game of Thrones NFT collection, which sold out in 7 hours. Even though it had these weird, everybody was making kind of fun of those hands, so it's just one of those things. But the point being is that NFTs are not going away. Robinhood is going to be looking for a new revenue center because altcoins are not necessarily just going to be the only thing that they can do it with. And I think NFTs will be a huge opportunity here for Robinhood. Further into this, I want to get into kind of the double-edged sword of Robinhood. This is their UX. So their gamification of investing backfired during the market meltdown. And this was all about the confetti thing that you guys probably saw and dealt with. But what happened is this got into scrutiny from some of the regulators. The point being wasn't that they got their hand slapped. It was more about, listen, these guys have figured out the personality profile of investors. They've figured out gamification, and they have figured out the model to basically print money. And I think that's the key, because what is the next big wave that's coming on adoption? NFTs and the next layer of adoption on Bitcoin and altcoins. With that being said, here's a good example of a UX designer. Now, this isn't Robinhood, just so we're clear. This is not an NFT marketplace that's launching on Robinhood. Don't get your up in arms. But it just shows what he's trying to do is showcase how this could be done and the beauty of what it might look like. And if you look further into it, I mean, he really goes into a lot of detail. If anybody could pull this off, it is a Robinhood that could create a very interesting scenario around how NFTs may be integrated into real use cases that are much more UX, easy access, easy onboarding, and easy tradability. Those are going to be the key things, I think, that move the next NFT market for sure. So who pays and wins if that occurs? Well, guess who? Boom. Polygon. We've reported on this many times. This is the platform for the Web3 wallet, which is now live. The beta is live, but we haven't launched it yet. And the plan is that, when I say we, Robinhood, they haven't launched it yet. We're hoping this is going to be, and they say it's going to be a Q1 event, which I hope is going to be the case. We'll see. We've got some guys that have some early access, so it'll be interesting. MATIC's current price right now trading at around 86. Looks like it might get up around that 90, which it's broken through a couple of times. So not bad during this period of time. We just did an altcoin video also, so you guys check one of our lives out after this post. Let's take a look at Hood and see where its price point is. Also, Hood trading at 876, still way off its low, which was around $6, but slightly tracking up. Most likely, this will start to adjust down as we start to see some more market situation. This might be an interesting buy if this gets down for maybe in the more in the $7 range for me. Anyway, the point is that I think Robinhood is in a very interesting spot. They have the potential to maybe take this to the next level, and they have all the tools in place. Best of all, they have that capability of UX design, access to the open markets, publicly traded. There's a lot of positives here that could breed a lot of onboarding and new projects. So big one to watch. You guys, if you're listening in over on the podcast, jump over here to the YouTube channel. This is a big way for you to get a lot of these visuals that we just went through, and join the Diamond Circle. It's also an easy way, and it's free. Just click the link below. Diamond Circle sends you out a couple of emails a week, and the cool thing is that we drop a lot of the news along with a lot of the content that maybe you might have missed. So make sure and do that. It's very easy to do. If you guys want to reach me, it is out there on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.